Getting prepped to host an influencer event at Coach when I barely have 10K followers on Instagram. So of course I thought this would be a great opportunity for you to spend the day with me so you can learn how we even got here, especially as a small creator. I know that struggle is so real. How do you get to work with big brands like this when you do not have huge numbers? So definitely talking about how this came about. Plus, of course, giving you a look at everything going into putting on the event, getting ready, the event itself, and of course sharing exactly what the experience was like after it's all said and done. So grab your little drinky drink and let's get ready. Now, if you happen to be new here, I am Jordan Blackwell, former sustainable materials engineer turned lifestyle content creator, helping you find not only what's going to make you look good, but feel good as well. I'm gonna start with my hair and the fact that I am down to one product. If you've been following me since the beginning, you know how many different products I needed when my curly hair was basically down to my waist. What? But literally, this is all your girl needs. I am never going back. So of course the big question is, how did you land an influencer event with Coach, especially like in Detroit, in Michigan, baby? We need the answers. So one of the things I learned as an engineer at GM that is still one of my favorite takeaways is that your net worth really can improve based on your network. However, as creators, as influencers, we all fall into one very, very common trap. And can you guess what that is? I am 100% talking about those girlies that are like, steal my email template, hold on and screenshot my DM that landed me all these brand deals when I have no followers. Right? And I definitely did that. Like I bought Monroe Steele's email template back in like 2016, but there are two huge problems that we run into when we do this. And the first one, which isn't even the biggest problem, is that honestly a lot of those still need to be customized because they really fail to capture like what makes you personally like amazing and your value that only you know that you bring to these brands. Like when you're a big influencer, obviously you can send a brand like, hey, I'm such and such, you see these numbers, we should work together, right? But one thing that is not talked about even by the bigger girlies is actually that's not something that every brand values. And so a huge disadvantage that this gives you is that you don't actually ever learn like what the brand you're pitching to values. And that was something that took me a little longer to learn, is not every brand is going to value the fact that you have a certain amount of followers. Not every brand is going to value the fact that you're creating content or your likeness. And not every brand is going to value the fact that you have a global audience. Some are looking for very niche audiences, like just in a certain city or coming from a certain city. Some are looking for very specific like home situations and things like that. So the email templates, honestly, while they can kind of be helpful, I think with like Chat GPT and stuff like that, you really can kind of like piecemeal together at least a very basic template for you to work off and personalize when it comes to pitching to brands. But the other trap that it really makes us all fall for, that is the bigger issue, is that you forget to network in person. And that is how the Coach deal actually came into play. I literally was in Coach. One sec, y'all, I'm trying to get this. I literally was shopping in Coach on just like some randomness before I was leaving for my 5-week long trip. And the sales associate recognized me. She's like, oh my gosh, are you Jordan of Little Miss JB style? And me in true awkward fashion was like, can't believe you know me. I'm always humbled by that. I love meeting you in person. So I was able to ask her tons of questions, kind of just as I like to get field research, because the truth is in this industry, the better you know your audience, the better and more long lasting like you're gonna be, because you just know what your audience is looking for and you can tap into that. And as we were talking, I thought about the fact that another influencer had a similar event maybe like a month or two ago that really ignited me to try and have like an influencer event. So I simply just asked, does Coach work with influencers to host events in the store? That's all it took. She literally went and grabbed her store manager, brought him out, and we had a really great conversation about what I had in mind, what Coach's goals would be for something like that. And then he gave me his contact information and I went to work. Let's get this side together really quick before I move on. Let's get into the makeup after I wash my hands. I'm a tinted moisturizer girly. So many brands have been trying to push like their matte finishes. I actually like this one from It Cosmetics, but I'm a dewy girl at heart, so I'm gonna reach for my trusty go-to from from Bare Minerals, and we're gonna do like the dot technique that I love to do so much. So after that, I went about just like creating not just the dream team, because the other thing that a lot of small creators really sleep on is the power of collaboration. Like, I love a good joint influencer event because the truth is, the other girlies are not your competition. That really can be the difference between you landing some deals and you missing out on deals, because it is a great opportunity, especially if you're smaller, if you have somebody who's strong in the areas that you lack, right? So if you're a great creator, you make some really, really cool and unique like images and things like that, but you're lacking the following, having other influencers work with you for these kinds of events and pitching that in your proposal really can help you to solidify these kinds of deals, especially on a local level. Trying this new brow hack that I learned. So first up, I reached out to Becca of Foodie Becca. You have definitely seen me talk about her before. She invited me to an event over at Kendra Scott, and that's really who inspired me to kind of get back into this, because I actually did an event back in 2019 like this with Tory Burch and really did not think much of it or like trying to do it again kind of after that event, because it really didn't go like, I had the girlies show up, but people really didn't shop just because I hadn't built that kind of like following and community up yet. So having seen how the people kind of like showed up for her, how the Kendra Scott event kind of really came together, she was a huge inspiration for me kind of getting over my fear and getting over myself and putting myself out there to create this opportunity. I honestly had to have her there. And that's one thing I'm also like really tired of seeing. Like, if I see another creator post a video or something saying like, I saw this somewhere on the internet, instead of just tagging who did it, like, it does not take away from the it does not take away from the amazing content that you created inspired by that person, but it also gives them credit where credit is due and the traction that they deserve for frankly inspiring you to create that piece of content. I don't know why people act like that is so hard to do. So it was only natural for me to shoot the invite out to her. And then I also went ahead and invited my girl Diamond. So she actually worked at General Motors with me as an engineer, and she left about 2 years before I did to go full-time creating content. And she truly, to me, is like a testament of the power of your network as a small creator, because the deals that she pulls in, I literally have learned so much from her. Plus, she just launched these really, really cute affirmation cards for creators to help you get over that imposter syndrome and all those kinds of things. I'll definitely link that below, something worth checking out, because I just love those kinds of things. As you know, if you've watched any of my other vlogs and seen that I journal and I do those kinds of affirmational things. Then last but not least, I got Amber, Detroit CEO. I have been standing for an opportunity to work with her, okay? Anybody who knows me knows, like, I just love working with dope people. So if I can find a way to connect us and make it make sense and make it be an awesome event for all of us, and this was it, because the way that she's really just kind of changed the landscape here in Detroit for creatives honestly has just been so motivational and so helpful, and really just maybe kind of rethink my strategy, because honestly for a while I was very much focused on getting opportunities outside of the city just because brands really weren't there yet. Like, they really weren't with the budget, understanding like influencer marketing and that it is marketing and not sales, and really just the benefits of working with us. Because obviously I think a lot of creators, we can forget the value just being so hungry to work with a brand. But baby, first of all, if you're a creator, even if you're brand new, please start charging, okay? Please stop doing stuff for free. You do not need to do things for the portfolio. Your page is the portfolio. They reached out to you for a reason. Don't play small there, okay? Because the truth is that you're creating a digital asset. You're creating a photo, and that 9 times out of 10 lasts so much longer than anything that these brands are gonna give you, right? Makeup eventually runs out, your clothes eventually break, but that photo, you can print off and have that forever. You can, again, the internet, unless it just completely crashes forever and ever, that photo lives on forever. I have videos that are 4 or 5 years old, still making money, still getting brands exposure. So, so that is a service, right? And then the brands want to use your likeness, your cuteness, your zest, your za, that personality that makes you so amazing, baby, so amazing. That is also valuable, right? And so please, for the love of all things holy, start charging these brands. Like, you do not need to be doing charity work, because these brands want to see if you can sell and all of that stuff. Because again, we're not salespeople. I don't know where or how that got started, but even celebrities, like, they don't have to sell. The point is that they have this audience and it's going to gain all this level of exposure. That's always been what this has been about is giving brands exposure, creating interest, and creating desire. Like, I got them to your website, okay? If they didn't buy, that's on you. I can't control what's wrong with your website. If they saw the price point and decided that wasn't worth it, that's out of my hands, and frankly, not my concern, because I want my audience, I want you to have what makes you feel good. So if you got on their website and it just didn't make you feel right, that's nothing that's in my control, right? So we're not salespeople. And Detroit, honestly, it's just been so slow in that arena. And even with this event, which I'll get into at the end of it, just like how some of the things have played out in terms of the planning and the budgeting and all that kind of stuff, like expectations versus reality, it just still shows that there's a lot of room and a lot more that needs to be done. But Amber, like I said, has done so much amazing work in that area. So of course I was so excited to find an opportunity to work with her. And again, the numbers, like 4 of us versus just me, it's less pressure on you and honestly just gives you a way bigger opportunity again to really make sure that the event is mutually successful for both you and the brand that you're working with, right? Because that is the other thing. Again, you do have to remember, like, the brand is your client and you do want to make sure that at the very least you are giving them a product or an event that they are happy with. After I got the girls assembled, we all agreed to a date. Then we started working on a proposal. So this is something I do not see as many bigger girlies obviously talking about because they're big. Like, what do they have to propose? Usually a brand comes with an idea ready, like, hey, we're running this campaign. You're going to create a video and here's what we want you to have, right? But there are a lot of brands who have no idea what they want and really don't understand, again, like how you really work into their sales funnel. And so having the girls together, we really put our heads together, like, what do we feel like we want there? Do we want a DJ? Do we want food? Do we want drinks? I'm so excited, y'all, because we got it. And really painting that picture again of just what the event entails, what you are expecting to get from the brand that you're working with, like in terms of just budget or resources, things like that. And one of the things that I'm going to tell you again, we're not salespeople. So when you're doing in-person events, and a lot of brands are really going to push like ROI and sales, right? They are, unless you truly get them on board for like a true activation event, right? Which is different from like, say, a sales event, right? It's to remind them that you are going to be bringing them sales leads. Like, that truly is the job of an influencer. Like, our job is to give sales leads. We're not 100% there. I'm not there with you when you are making the purchase. Like, that is what a salesperson does. Like, they are there to close that deal. But our job is to get new people in the door or people returning to your door that may not have bought something the first time. And so as you're putting together your value proposition, of course, you have to keep in mind, if you're a creator, your value proposition might be content. It might be, again, creating interest. It might be creating a vibe, right? But you need to be very, very clear what the brand can expect, because level setting expectations is the hardest part of what we do. Like, there are so many times where it's like, a brand will be like, I was hoping for this. And I'm like, well, hoping and historically speaking, right? Like, you have to taper the expectations, because a lot of times brands will hold you to an unrealistic expectation, especially, again, like we see that brands are still putting tens of thousands of dollars into traditional ads, but then will not have the same level of expectations in terms of conversions and sales as they do for someone like me, which is just, again, can be a little bit frustrating and something that you want to make very, very clear when you put together the proposal. Here's what ours looked like when putting that together. I'm happy with the hair, happy with the makeup. Gonna go ahead and get ready, get dressed, and then we're gonna head over and you're gonna be able to see the setup and things like that and really get into the event itself. This is the outfit that I decided to go for. Something fun, something bright. I think that the other thing a lot of us totally sleep on is, again, you can bring your own unique flair to brands. You don't need to like wash yourself down. That's one of the reasons that a lot of brands do want to work with you, is that you are able to show a different side of their brand that they may not be able or have never thought to convey, right? So I have this gorgeous set. This is from Sandro, right? Just give it, so fun, so playful, right up my alley. Of course, I have the Coach tabby bag because that is the center of this entire look. I wanted something that, again, showed how you can take a classic bag but wear it for something more fun and more playful. I have these really fun netted shoes. These are from Fashion Nova, right? Then for the jewelry, I always get asked about this. I'm gonna do a whole video on my collection. But I have the Shop Khoi, because you always gotta have something black owned. The Abbott and Lion initial necklace. I have my usual go-to rings. This one is from Nature the Label. This one is from Bird Bee. And then this one is from a bodega at the mall. I also got these from Birdbee as well. And this gorgeous bangle is from Soko, which I got from the mall. That's also where this set is from. I just have been loving their variety of brands and the pieces. Ugh, just like some finds I've not been seeing anywhere else. So for equipment, I am going to be bringing obviously my DJI. The other thing that I'm going to make sure that I have is I always make sure to bring a tripod wherever I go, just in case, even on like my regular days, like running to the coffee shop, because you just never know when it's like, hey, this is the moment to catch a fit. Then I'm of course going to bring the DJI microphone as well, plus my iPhone obviously to capture some pictures, and going to be bringing my newer light as well. I love to have this, especially for indoor locations. You just never know how dark it's going to be inside, and you would hate to like find out after that you didn't get good footage just because you did not want to be that girl who brought a light with them to the event. I always say it's better to be prepared and bring more than you need than just try and like struggle. Again, even when I'm just like running around and running errands, because you just, again, you never know, you might come off like a cool location and you just really want to get a good photo, a good fit. I just find that's the best. For me, I know a lot of people batch create content, but I like to more organically just do things as I go, and so I also create occasions, which is why you see me at the coffee shops a lot. With that, let's get headed into Coach and start prepping for the event. Running a little bit behind schedule, but that is okay. That's the other nice thing I will say with like how we planned this event specifically, was that just like we were very much able to put a lot of trust in the brand and in the store manager. So he was really helpful, like making sure that we have everything we need, also hiring the vendors so the vendors would do setup and breakdown. And these are all things I'm going to get into, kind of like recapping not just the event itself, but like mistakes that we made in general and things that you can just avoid to make sure that this process goes as smoothly as you can, like regardless of whether or not you're planning an event for your brand or you're an influencer looking to plan obviously an event for a brand, and really make sure that it just goes successfully, because there are definitely quite a few stumbling blocks. But in my defense, it is because like literally I was in there the week before I was leaving for my 5-week long trip to the Philippines, to Thailand. If you've seen my vlog, you've seen that. So that's the other reason like I probably made a lot of like rookie mistakes, is I just also did not give myself enough time to actually plan that out. I'll be making sure to touch on all those important things that you should be keeping in mind to give yourself the most likelihood of a brand saying yes, especially if you are a micro influencer, a micro creator looking to do this full time. It's our house and I live here. Oh yeah, I'm here for this. Oh, we got our girls setting the food up. We've got my latte cart setting up. Good morning. Hi, beautiful. How are you? Good. Filming the whole process. We'll get some clothes for all the kids. So you can get custom stuff made, little custom name tags. Right. Because I see 2 bags I absolutely need already. Look at this. Ah, they're so cute. I love the little marble one. I feel like I need to walk around the green one though. This is what goes into setting up an event, y'all. Like, one, amazing vendors who are on time, prepared, have things ready to go. Because dear Lord, that's half the battle. Look at the sunnies. Because I know we be forgetting the Coach we have in the sunnies, y'all. They're back, y'all. You saw them before and they came again.
The vacation girlies are back.
Vacation queens.
We survived.
Coming to our exclusive private shopping event here at Coach in Somerset. Before the store opens, that's how you know we're special. Y'all are special, so thanks for sharing this time with us. We just came together to have a good time. This is our first time collaborating as a collective of Detroit influencer girlies, and it's super special. So we're gonna have, whoever wants to say something about this event, about this moment, speak, and then we're gonna get into something a little fun.
I just want to thank everybody for coming out. A huge thank you to all of the vendors. We have all of these. Kale's killing me. Yes, we have latte number 5, Chris, the store manager, who is so helpful in making a lot of this happen. So all of you taking a moment to spend this morning with us, to the girls for saying yes and collaborating on this. So this means a lot to all of us, and we appreciate having you guys here. So thank you.
Yeah, just to reiterate, thank you guys so much for coming out. This really means a lot to all of us. When we were putting this together, we were just talking about how Coach impacted all of us in our childhood when we were growing up. Like, we remember going to the Coach store with our moms and like getting our bags, and just to see Coach come back, and then for them to invite us in today to have this event and really show us what Coach has been doing. I'm just really glad that everybody came out, and I'm hoping we can do some more fun things like this. So thank you guys so much.
Oh, that's right. Since y'all are so stylish and there are lots of cute pieces in the store, we're gonna do a quick styling challenge. So if you look around, we have 2 empty mannequins, so we need 2 volunteers. There will be a prize for the winner.
Back after such a great event, I had a huge debrief with everybody because I wanted to make sure to give you lessons learned, because there were definitely many of them. And like I said, a couple of the stumbling mistakes were simply because I was planning this trip literally with like a week before heading out of the country. I was out of the country with spotty coverage. If you watch my vlogs about Phuket, Bangkok, and Cebu, you just know the story. So that obviously is like the biggest tip number 1 is you need to give brands like plenty of time, because one of the things a lot of the email warriors just fail to mention is like there are different budgets for different times of years. So for the most part, I love to give brands at least 2, if not like 3 months. And that's something that a lot of people, I think, don't quite realize when it comes to creators and when it comes to influencing work, is like we are months and months ahead, like sometimes half of a year ahead when it comes to like pitching, ideating, and getting things out there. And so having something that you can keep all of your ideas organized, I swear by Notion. This is really what my working page looks like right now, how I keep track of just the different brands, all the ideas, when I should be pitching, right? Because again, the other thing that a lot of people fail to think about is there's gonna be so much back and forth, especially with in-person events. Even for just posting on Instagram, like the amount of times I've gone back and forth with a brand, it could be like 20, 30 different emails simply because of time differences and not hopping on a call, which is the other reason. Like I said, sometimes just talking to people in person can be so helpful and just cut down on a lot of that. So you really gotta keep all that in mind, because baby, like, trying to be like, hey, we should work together like in a week or in 2 weeks. There are so many times a brand will reach out to me at the last minute, and it's like they fail to understand that there is a lot of just different logistical things that go into creating and things like that. So give yourself plenty of time. 2, when it comes to your proposal, make sure that you're very clear about what your goals and your intentions are, what the budget is, because that was one thing we definitely should have laid out a little bit clearer in the beginning, was that expectation, the potential vendors, what they charge for those kinds of services, and then obviously the overall budget for the event, plus what you are really hoping to do for the brand, because truthfully, there was a lot of pressure on ROI and spending, and this being a shopping event. And that kind of was a little bit hard because, like I mentioned, we are not salespeople. while we were definitely going to get the girlies in the door, and we were going to make sure that we invited girlies that weren't just there for the clout, to be seen, to take the cute pictures, but actually interested in buying, after that, it was like kind of out of our hands, because Coach is a mid-range brand, right? You're talking $200-300 bags, sometimes $400 bags. And that's not like money people are always ready to just drop on a dime, like, and ready to spend on, especially like in a short amount of time. So to have less people than we intended, because we thought we were going to have 40 people at this event, we did not have 40 people. And to get that close to what like the store manager was hoping to hit was such a big win for us. And I think it's so important that you're transparent and the brand is transparent with you about what the takeaway is, because we were very honest that sales, we were not going to be able to guarantee. We were not going to sit there and promise like, yep, if you spend this much money, we're going to be able to sell this much. That just isn't how any kinds of marketing and things work, right? But now for us, knowing what they were expecting, that also made sure that we were generating the right kind of people, right, in the right kind of environment to really hopefully have that happen. And we even had so many dope incentives that we did not think we were gonna get. Like, we were able to do giveaways, which was so cool. You saw they had a really, really gorgeous like slippers, eye mask, chill set. 2 girlies won the wine bottle holders, right? Like the nice leather holders. And we had a really, really gorgeous blanket to give away as well. That was a surprise for us. We weren't sure we were going to be able to secure that. Plus, we also were able to secure like little giveaways. So that's the other thing to keep in mind as you and the brand are going through these talks, level setting with expectations of like what you're going to bring to the table, what they can take away from it. You really want to focus on obviously the result that you can give and really be honest about like what that might take. Like if you want sales, and we were very clear because there was a point that they were asking that we cut the budget in half, like in half. And when that happened, it took me a second, but I really had to remind myself and remind the brand, like, I want to represent you in the best light possible. But that does come at a cost. Like, that just is the truth. And what I don't want to do is us cut this cost and you come off in a poor light and I come off in a poor light, because this is going to be a representation of both of us, right? And that's one thing that I always will push back on brands sometimes when they're talking about budget and money, because at the end of the day, you need to invest in yourself and you need to invest in your brand, and you're asking me, and I'm going to do my best to make sure that you are represented to the best of my abilities. I look joyous, I look happy, I love the pieces, right? I'm going to exude that for your brand, right? And I'm going to speak positively on your brand, because I don't partner with brands that I don't believe in, right? I'm not doing that. I don't need money like that. So when brands try and push back, I'm always reminded like, hey, you want to succeed, and in order to be successful, this is what I need. And if you just aren't in that position, then maybe this just isn't the right time. And that was really like the conversation that was had at one point, is just like, if you want to wait until we're in a better position, we have more budget to work with, we can wait and do that. We'd rather do that and have a great event than risk just looking bad for any of us, right? So thankfully there was some understanding. We made some last minute changes, but it all came together so beautifully. And the other thing really is like making sure you have great vendors, right? And we lucked out, like this is one area that Detroit really does shine well in. Like our DJs, immaculate. Like we'll have a table, we'll bring our speakers, like they are ready, they are prepared. So Kales, she was killing it. Like the vibes, I wish I could share with y'all the music, because she was giving exactly the vibes. We had Elle the foodie. She came in, set everything up, took everything down. Same with the bar cart. So there was very little like things that we personally like had to do. You saw we set up some of the mannequins. We even had a mannequin challenge. And that was something unique, again, that only we were gonna think of and we were gonna bring to the table, that a lot of these stores do need to like attract that attention and attract that, you know what I mean? And that's something that I really hope that you take away as well. There's a lot of ways that you can use the inspiration, obviously, and make it work for you and for a brand that a lot of brands don't think about. And that is a true value proposition as well, on top of obviously like trying to drive sales leads for brands to, you know, close that sale and get those conversions that they're ultimately looking to have. Because I get it. Bills need to be paid, people need to be paid, and that's one of the huge things about these kinds of things that's really important, is that you need to understand that balance and be able to have that conversation. Like that's a huge thing that I tell the girlies. The stuff I'm releasing is not for today. Like the only platform I'm posting for like today on is Instagram, but everything on TikTok, everything on Pinterest, everything on YouTube, that's for me to generate sales in 3 months, in 6 months, for the next year, for the next 3 years. Like a lot of my videos, my cruise outfit videos, my denim videos, those continue to bring in 100 to 200 views a month 2 to 3 to 4 years after they've been posted. And that's why, I mean, I love YouTube. But that also is a value proposition to again bring to the table for brands. And that's why I always push brands away, not away from Instagram, but just to expand beyond Instagram, because just the life cycle of content goes longer. And at the end of the day, you saw the girlies were having a time, like bags were bought, scarves were bought, and the mannequin challenge, right? Like, girl, she came up with such a really cute look. So overall, it was a really, really great experience. We exceeded personally my expectations. I was not sure, like I said, with the sales piece. That's always like questionable. It really is. Like, you really could have every intention to bring out the girls and set the vibes, and you may not sell, and that isn't, I never want you to take away that you failed at your job. The other thing is when you do these kinds of events and you're looking for these opportunities, is to remember that you're not just about creating sales. You as a creator, whether you do content creation or you do content creation and influencing, is again to really be that creative part to get people talking and to get people into the door. You are like the top of the sales funnel, right? It's brand awareness. If it's a brand you've never worked with, your audience has never seen, then you're gonna be driving interest by showing how that brand really just works and integrates into your lifestyle. And then desire, right? Like, hopefully you're getting people to feel something and see something. Like for me, you know, I always talk about feeling good, and I'm never gonna recommend anything that doesn't make me feel good. And I also will tell you not to buy anything that doesn't make you feel good, because again, I'm not thirsty like that. So that's what I hope that this kind of vlog really helped with today. You know, you got to see a little bit about my life, a little bit about the event, and just what putting on this kind of stuff really looks like, especially again as a micro creator, because I know it can feel like when you're not in a big city, you're not in LA, you're not in New York, you're not in Paris, that you might be really limited on opportunities. But what I keep learning is it is about saying hi, starting conversations, and getting to know the people around you, and not in a way of like, okay, but what can you do for me? But genuinely getting to know people. But I will say I stayed up like super late. I'm crazy tired, and I want to take a little power nap because I have sunset yoga in downtown Detroit, which I'm so excited. My girl Chelsea, she does free yoga in the summer on Thursdays, and I love her, and she started doing these moonlit for the full moon yoga sessions. So I'm gonna give myself a bite to eat, just take a minute to decompress and really just appreciate the moment, because I'm terrible about that. Like literally I could be in the group chat like, okay y'all, what's next? Like, we did it, this was a win, who are we trying to work with next, what are we trying to do next? But I want to get better at celebrating and being in these moments, so that's what I'm gonna allow myself to do. Get my gratitude journal out, write some manifestations, and put some even better vibes out for this moonlit yoga session tonight. So if you want to see more about what my life is like as a content creator, and even what my life was like as I was juggling both engineering and content creating, you can check out my entire vlog playlist, really spend some time with me, see some of the other things that I love, my favorite coffee shops, because y'all know I love a good latte, and just get to spend even more time with me. Before you do that though, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a video from your girl, and I will see you over there. Thanks so much for watching.